anything short of that, that means the EFCC didn't supply that to the National Assembly. But I don't expect that they will carry the whole report and give to this day. This day is not National Assembly, to my understanding. It's just the report, the covering letter suffices for this day. But on the personal arrangement, they want to authenticate that. They could go to the office.
Yeah.
So I think for Mago, let him realize he must have the reports. If not, what is he going to court for? You can't force any charge against somebody's truth. Whether he's lying or not, let him defend himself by having whatever you're charging him.
All right then.
Honestly, I've just been wondering what really. I'm looking beyond what is happening now. I'm looking at how all of this will end. And for me, I don't see anything substantial coming out of all of this. It's just, for me, the razzmatazz is so just too much. And we'll just see all of this and then everything will just fizzle out. Nothing concrete we're likely to see from this whole Magu saga. Because yesterday I was watching one of Magu's lawyers and I was listening to hear that, look, haven't detained me for 10 days without, just like that, that probably they will begin to think of filing charges. And the man said, no, that is not, now that he's out, they are okay, and then he will free himself, and then he's looking at going back to his office to continue to do a job for the country. And I'm asking myself, come, what is this? Is all of this a joke? You just come out and somebody heaps allegations upon your head, and you think, and the entire country is just, people are just all over, everywhere, heaping abuses and everything upon you, one allegation after another unproven, and then all of this, all you want is that
go back to work.
You want to go back to work.
Sooner I get back to work, the better.
So what then happens if all of this at the end of the day becomes unproven and then everything is not true? What happens to Malami, who took how many years piling up all of this? We're talking about Malami. He's not just any other private individual. This is the chief law officer of the country. For crying out loud, for me, if you've been able to arrange all of this, by the time you come out to even mention one, by your position, you should have been sure of what you're talking about. And for me, the issue of setting up a presidential panel is also begging the issue. Straight, if you have your facts, take him to court. Prosecute him. What are you setting up a panel for? The panel will do what? Now, what will happen is this. The panel will sit. As we speak now, the panel has not spoken to anybody. They have not mentioned anything to anybody. So everything is in speculation. At the end of the panel's sitting, they write their report, still not divulging anything, and they will submit to Mr. President, who sent them on this errand. Mr. President will have the prerogative whether to tell Nigerians anything or to sit on the report, and it dies. So all of this remains mere.
Why would Magu be given a copy of the allegations that has been laid against him so he's better prepared to defend himself?
Defend himself before what?
The panel, the same panel.
The same panel.
Yes. I don't know the one squeezing him.
Assuming the panel was set up actually to make him defend anything, I don't know. But if it is an investigative panel, what are you want to defend what?
But it's not an investigative panel.
They say it's not even on trial. So this issue of defense that give you this into come and defend, what to do?
No, he's not on trial.
So what are we going to achieve? What are we expecting to come out of that panel?
So that means you just bring him every morning and then you reel out, okay, today defend this, then you go back to the cell. Next morning they bring you.
Exactly.
Okay, is that
Then the panel now sends its report.
No.
You're not on trial, isn't it?
I believe
he's not on trial. So what is he defending?
I believe Mago is looking for those reports to be able to prepare whatever for the courts. It cannot be the panel. I have asked this question: is the panel a court? Now, it is Attorney General, the chief law officer, that has the ability the right to prosecute. Not even the panel. Whatever the panel finds out, it's just going to make a report and send to whoever set it up. It's used. Why didn't Mr. Malamis just take the whole thing to court? Why is he shying away from his powers?
Well, Mago Rights Panel demands copies of Malami and others' petitions. You find that story in This Day. And Akpabio replies, Nunez denies alleged harassment and corruption. Akpabio replies, Nunez denies alleged harassment, corruption. I love my wife and daughters, and I've been a champion of women and children. I don't like when you put chocolate in here, though. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has denied sundry allegations, including harassment leveled against him by a former managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Mrs. Joy Nunez, who headed the former interim management committee of the NDDC. In an interview on Arise News Channel, the broadcast arm of This Day on Monday, said she slapped the minister for harassing her. She also accused the minister of other misdemeanors. It says here that, however, Akpabio, in a statement yesterday by his media aide, Mr. Aniet Ekong, said his attention has been drawn to a cornucopia of false, malicious, and libelous press interviews granted by Ms. Bene Joy Nunez, the erstwhile acting managing director of the Interim Management Committee of the Niger Delta Development Commission, in some news and other social media platforms, and a series of concerted, vicious campaigns of calumny deviously orchestrated by her against his person, ranging from the allegation of corruption, sexual and workplace harassment, pipeline bombings, secret cult activities, abuse of office, and amongst other lies peddled by her. According to Akpabio, his initial attitude was to allow his lawyers and the judicial system vindicate him of the false allegations against him, but was compelled to react to some of the wayward allegations leveled against his person by Miss Nunez, especially the one bordering on sexual harassment. The statement started to start with, let it be known that there's no scintilla of truth in all the allegations peddled around by Nunez. They're simply false. The Honorable Minister did not at any time, place, or circumstance make any form of sexual advances to Miss Nunez, not even to put himself in a position or posture suggestive of sexual advances towards Miss Nunez or any female staff of his ministry or the NDDC. For the records, the Honorable Minister, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is happily married and content with his wife. Today, they are blessed with children, 4 of whom are young women. The Honorable Minister is an avid believer of the Affirmation Action, and that was visible in the appointments he made as a 2-term executive governor of Akwa Ibom State 2007 and 2015. Under his watch, he appointed several women into various high-level positions as chairpersons of local government councils, magistrates, judges, and heads of parastatals, directors, permanent secretaries, and commissioners. The statement described the minister as the first governor in Akwa Ibom to have a female deputy governor, as well as to appoint female chief judges of high courts, recommended women for ministerial appointments, citing a former minister of housing and urban development. So he said, look, I love women too much, and I encourage them in the different spheres of life. I'm not one to be roped with sexual harassment, and never have I even advanced that in such a manner, nor have I been suggestive of it, not to her, not to any staff in my ministry, nor the NDDC.
Well, I have said it, that investigation, of course, not that from Akpabio, should be launched into this particular issue or case. Because I expected Akpabio to say exactly, through his press secretary, what he has said. I was not expecting him to come and say, yes, I did harass Joy Nunez. And then he's unheard of. So, the fact is that whatever allegations Joy had made, let them be subjected to serious investigations. Nigerians will know. For now, it is all of us and every other Nigerian was not there with Joy and Akpabio when they were interacting, whatever. So Joy said, you harassed me, and you are saying you don't. I expect you to say I didn't. So others investigate all the allegations.
All right. Okay.
It's very sad that instead of talking about developing the Niger Delta with what we already have so much, what we're hearing is this kind of things. I don't know who was there with them, or if she recorded him. If she didn't record anything and there is no way of proving it, why bringing it now? For me, it's a distraction. A distraction from
the real
everything, the real issues. Let's get down to who stole our common
Who
wealth.
stole what?
And then making them pay for it. It's see, very soon, if we're not careful, this one will just be like, you know how Nigerians, this is the one they splash on our face, and then if we're not careful, we'll just begin to follow them and discuss, you did this to me, I did it, I slapped you.
Meanwhile, the billions are just...
And then the money will just go like that. No, that shouldn't happen. We must
focus.
Take our eyes and our attention from whatever they are doing and go down to join, give us account of your stewardship. Simple. And then you, Akpabio, please. Well, hearing that in 5 months, 80, how many billion was...
How is that possible?
Was spent. Tell us how you spend the money. And please, for me, it's so unfortunate. And the Niger Delta, the way I see NDDC, until we insulate NDDC from political interference, even to the extent of the appointment of those who manage that area, this nonsense won't stop. If you go back, today it is Babio and Joy Nuni and whatever. Go back and then you also hear the sorted stories before then. So from one controversy to another.
How do you insulate it from political interference? It's under a ministry. The ministry is going to be headed by a minister.
No, before now, it was with the presidency, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Fine.
SGF.
It was with the presidency. Mm-hmm. Now he decided to put it under a minister. Now, when you and I have known now that for so long, not just with this administration, before now, every appointment into those positions have been to party people. And when they appoint you there, they expect that you bring money from there to run the party. And so at the end of the day, what contracts are given on patronage to who they know, and then at the end of the day, everybody thinks that, that place is a place for settlement of the boys. So the moment anybody gets a contract in NDDC, he goes to church and gives...
I'm thinking that we're trying to make it look like it's just the NDDC. We're looking at the Nigerian picture that is supposed to be like a cash cow. Is it not the same thing that happens with NNPC? People that are appointed to NNPC are not supposed to be more or less people that they know they can, aid in siphoning monies to. Is that not the same we get with people who are appointed in other places where we think they are the what do we call those, the juicy ministries and all? It's always going to be allies and cronies that are sent to those places because of the association with those places and funds, the free flow of funds. So I don't think the NDDC is the only place that enjoys that sort of...
Not. No, it may not be, but the NDDC is an interventionist agency, and it has a clear mandate: the development of the Niger Delta.
And that's why they tell you that they give the contracts they're giving us, because they are developing the people by giving them this contract. I've heard that. I asked.
There's no way to insulate them from political maneuvers.
Because you see a contract where clearly this job is supposed to be done by 10 million, and you see that they awarded it for 70 million. And I'm saying, so why 70? They said, it's an interventionist agency. So the idea is that, yes, it is for 10 million, but,
and at the end of the day, the job is not even the 10 million. It's not even done. That's where the problem is. For me, that's my pain. If you want to do all of that, somehow, well, I agree, fine. This sometimes they give physical cash because in the spending of that 85 billion, they talk about their condolences and all that. Those are physical cash they give to people. So that can as well be done. But when it comes to jobs, projects,
that need to be executed,
for crying out loud, it should be done
to the letter.
Wow.
Yeah, I get your point. Well, let's move on.
It's painful that we're doing this to ourselves.
That we're talking about allegations of sexual allegations instead of looking for where the money went to. Follow the trail of the money, find those who pilfered, and then lock them up. Perhaps if we were able to do that, the next set of people who will be managing the NDDC will be a little bit more careful. I think for me, over the years, nobody has been punished for mismanagement of funds. So it's like, you know what? Once you get here, you can do this and get away. Even when you hear scandalous ways that monies have been spent during the NDCC by its management, nothing really does happen. Nothing happens. Anyways,
that is Nigeria.
Shifting Edo-Ondo elections recipe for constitutional crisis amidst calls for a shift in the dates for elections for the Edo and Ondo states governorship elections due to COVID-19 pandemic. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, yesterday insisted that to shift the two elections would be an open invitation to a constitutional crisis. Rather, the Commission said it will ensure strict observation of the COVID-19 guidelines and protocols, as there will be no voting without face masks. The Commission said it will be using August 8, 2020 Nasarawa State House of Assembly election to perfect the conditions for the two state governorship elections in Edo and Ondo State, scheduled for September 19th and October, respectively. Our next National Commissioner and Chairman of Voter Education and Information, Mr. Festus Okoye, said in an interview with newsmen yesterday that any attempt to move the two governorship elections outside the stipulated dates will amount to inviting a constitutional crisis.
I agree with Okoye. Absolutely. I had said it when there was just, I think, a step towards muting that idea. I said, are you telling me you shifted? Then Obaseki will stay in office till when? Or you remove him? Incidentally, he didn't say shift. He is also a player. He wants to go into the fray. But you are shifting it. He remains the governor as a caretaker governor. As the president who has his tenure has expired will be the one to conduct the election. Now, so the grave constitutional crisis is what people are inviting if there's any need to shift it. Rather, strict observance of this protocol of COVID should be applied. That's all.
All right.
For me, this is even easier for us to handle than in the northeast or in Borno when elections still held, even in a war situation. This one is quite easy. We can manage it. It's easier to manage. So there will be no reason to. I don't see any reason to shift that one.
And that's how we'll wrap up on that segment. The news update comes up next. Just stay with us.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. A 47-year-old man, Eromosile Mahmood from Etako, Edo State, is now in detention at the State Criminal Investigative Department, Port Harcourt, for impregnating his 16-year-old daughter. Eromosile, who confessed to the crime in an interview with newsmen at the River State Police Headquarters, Port Harcourt, said he started defiling his daughter since she was 11. The man said he was usually under a trance or spiritual possession that drives him to defile his daughter. He said he willingly confessed to the crime and is ready to bear the consequences of his actions, just as he pleaded that the baby his 16-year-old daughter is carrying should not be aborted. Spokesman of the River State Police Command, SP Nnamdi Omoni, said the suspect will be charged to court soon. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has sentenced the former executive director of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Captain Ezekiel Bala Agaba, to 7 years in prison for laundering 1.5 billion naira. Justice Ibrahim Buba gave the sentence after convicting the former NIMASA ED. In 2015, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had alleged that the convict, while serving as the ED in charge of maritime safety and shipping, fraudulently conspired with the then Director General Patrick Akpabolo-Kemi to obtain the huge sum by false pretense from the federal government, after which it was fraudulently converted. The management of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, condemned the conduct of a former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari. The former governor was alleged to have violated protocols put in place to arrest the spread of coronavirus in Nigeria. Yari was also said to have physically assaulted an officer of the agency when asked to adhere to basic protocol on disinfection of luggage. In a series of tweets, FAN condemned the alleged act of violations of protocols, describing it as unacceptable and irresponsible. The management cautioned all airport users, especially VIPs, to respect the presidential directive by observing the public health travel protocols put in place to protect all air travelers against infection and the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. The incident was said to have taken place at the Aminu Kano International Airport last weekend. This report says that Nigeria's population will surpass those of China and the United States by 2100. This is according to a world population growth forecast by a group of scientists in a study published in the Lancet Medical Journal, which says the number of people will peak in 2064 and drop to about 8.8 billion by 2100. According to the study, the 5 countries with the largest population by 2100 will be India with 1.9 billion, Nigeria with 791 million, China with 732 million, and the US with 336 million, and Pakistan with 248 million. China's population, however, is projected to decline by 48%. Latest data from the US Census Bureau, July 1st, 2020, put Nigeria's population at 214 million, while China and the United States are 1.4 billion and 330 million, respectively. And now to the foreign scene. A California woman who paid $9,000 to have someone secretly take online college courses for her son has been sentenced to 5 weeks in prison. 57-year-old Karen Littlefair, before her sentence, apologized and asked the judge for leniency, calling the experience a nightmare for her family. Littlefair says she acted out of love for her son but ended up hurting the boy greatly. Littlefair is among more than 50 people charged in the U.S. college cheating scheme involving wealthy parents and athletic coaches at elite universities across the country. And that was the news update on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility. Do wash your hands frequently with soap on the running water. Avoid touching your face in high contact surfaces to prevent the spread of coronavirus. I am Annie Abdusalam. To have a good morning.
Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Here with us in the studio. Ambassador Nefo, you're welcome.
Thank you and good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be here today.
Ambassador, a lot of people will want to know, what is the Business Growth Assistance Program of the Vision Business Hub all about? We notice it is rapidly expanding all over the country. So what is the program all about?
Thank you. The Business Growth Assistance Program is an international partnership program of the Vision Business Hub. We help partners to raise capital for their businesses or projects without collateral or loans. And when they get the capital, they don't have to pay it back. You see, the key word is raise. Raise the funds you need for your businesses or projects over a period of time without borrowing money from anybody. Since 2016, the Business Growth Assistance Program have helped over 2,000 partners raise business capital without collecting loans, and they did not have to pay back. Here's the fact. That you have capital to start a business does not mean your business or investment will be successful. Therefore, the Business Growth Assistance Program will also provide you with a 6-month mentorship program where a team of mastermind mentors and business experts will work with you, advise you, mentor you for a full 6 months to ensure your business is successful. But listen, this mentorship will be rendered to you completely free of charge.
I believe this is a good program for such a time as this in Nigeria. But how does the Vision Business Hub make money?
Good question. We have international affiliate partners that support our program and make sure that those who need the mentorship will get it for free. We have been diligent for the past 4 years and our results are speaking.
So what are the categories of people that can benefit and how can they contact the Vision Business Hub?
You will be contacted if you meet up with the categories I will mention as follows. Do you need to raise money to start a business? Do you need to expand an existing business? Do you want to start another investment to support your current income? Do you have the project or a project that requires money to execute? If your answer is yes to any of these categories, then send yes to the number I will call shortly. The Vision Business Hub has a functional working plan to teach partners how to raise the funds they need in a period of 3 to 6 months without collecting loans or dropping collateral. And once you raise the capital, you don't have to pay it back. To top it up, because we understand that the secret to any business success is mentorship, we have committed to providing free mentorship to the first 30 people that send yes to us from this program. So if you are not among the first 30 people to send yes to us, you have to pay a consultation fee of 50,000 naira. Yes, 50,000 naira. But if you are amongst the first 30 people to text yes, our consultants will talk to you completely free of charge right at our summit. Now, for every awareness we make, we select only 30 people. That means the first 30 people from this program that send yes to the number I will call will be selected. Remember, the great Pablo Picasso said that action is the foundational key to all success. Do not hope for change. Create the change you want through action. So if you want to take action and you need help to raise funds for your business or project, then pick up your phone now and send yes to this number.
080-277-24028. 080-277-24028.
Do not sit back and explain away what you do not understand. If you really need financial help to start a business or project, this is the time. Don't sit back and hope that life will get better. Dr. Steve Marboley once said, life will not give you what you want. It will only give you what you demand with action. The time for action, I believe, is now. So pick up your phone and send yes to this number.
080-277-24028.
I will call it again. Of the first 30 people to respond, you will talk to our consultants to benefit from the Business Development Assistant Program. So if you'd like to understand how we can help you to raise these funds that you need for your business or project, quickly send yes, YES, to this number.
080-277-24028. 080-277-24028.
Our representatives will give you a call and schedule a meeting for you with one of our consultants who will guide you on how you can create the capital you desire without loans or collateral. And when you get the capital, you won't have to pay it back. And then you will also get free 12 months mentorship to make sure you succeed in your venture. Albert Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is defined as insanity. So do not continue with the mistakes of last year. Make sure you do something different this year. Make sure you get mentorship this year. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again and God bless you.
Thank you, Ambassador Nefo, for sharing this business opportunity with us.
Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Today is here. Yesterday is gone and unrecoverable. Tomorrow, you don't know what it holds, right? You have today. Yes, you heard me. You have today. The indisputable truth is that today is pregnant with both good and bad. You have freely been given today as a gift to see what you will make out of it. Permit me to be positive. Permit me to sideline the negative and magnify the good. Permit me to espouse on today. Today is great. Today is wonderful. Today is targetable and targets can be achieved. Today is domineering and you can be dominant. Today is a conqueror and goals can be conquered. Today is challenging and you can challenge yourself for the better. Today is cheerful. You can choose to be happy. Just in case you're sulking, saddened and feeling sorry for yourself. Enough of the wallow in self-pity. You have today, I mean today. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. Take that step today. Opportunities are everywhere. Just be sensitive. Build on yourself and get ready for the opportunity. Be the best you can be today, because I see the sun smiling on you. This message is powered by Today
95.1 FM.
Voice of the people.
Wake up to today's quest. Wake up. All the news and information you need in one go. Get started with the best of sports, lifestyle, analysis, and Annie.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Can you feel it? Wake up to today's quest with Annie on Today 95.1 FM. From 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays. Fantastic. Wake up to today's quest.
Wake up.
All the news and information you need in one go. Get started with the best of sports, lifestyle, analysis, and Annie.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Can you feel it? Wake up to today's quest with Annie on Today 95.1 FM from 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays. Fantastic.
Opinion poll on today's quest.
More than 3 over 4 of the loots we are talking about in this country today were loots within the 16 years.
Here is a great opportunity to sample all our opinions on the issues raised.
Amin Patakat says the PDP is trying to divert our attention because Nigerian funds was looted by the PDP. Melody in Uniport says Madam Jonah is yet to come in terms to the fact that her tenure has expired. Annie, please tell him that investigation is not what you make public until the final stage.
Send your opinion to us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Today
95.1 FM.
or on Twitter @TodayFM951. You can also sample your opinions with us on WhatsApp or on our SMS portal using the numbers 070-1933-9962. It's 15 minutes after 9. You're listening to Today 95.1 FM. So let's get to the opinion poll for today. Opinion poll for today, we're looking at allegations against me are fabrications. It's dog eat dog, Magu. Allegations against me are fabrications. It's dog eat dog, Magu. The suspended acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, who was released on bail on self-recognition on the directive of the presidential panel investigating corruption allegations against him, has said that the allegations were fabricated and his detention a case of dog eat dog. Magu said this after his release from detention on Wednesday, adding that his current ordeal is one of the risks of the job of fighting against corrupt persons. He urged Nigerians not to give up on the fight, saying President Muhammadu Buhari must be supported to eradicate corruption in the country. He said, and I quote, "They should not be discouraged. I am happy to be back. I believe the war against corruption is winnable. They should not give up on the fight because corruption kills a nation faster than any other thing. It is not a personal fight, whether I am EFCC chairman or not. The anti-corruption war must continue." End of quote. On the allegations against him, he said, and I quote again, "The allegations are merely trumped up allegations to tarnish my image and that of the EFCC. I did not steal or divert or convert funds to private use. I read the allegations and I was shocked. End of quote. His lawyer, Mr. Tosin Ojaomo, on Wednesday night confirmed that his client, who is facing corruption charges, had been released. The lawyer, however, said it was illegal for Mr. Magu to have been detained at the Force Criminal Investigations Department for 10 days in the first place. Mr. Ojaomo claimed that nothing incriminating was found in Magu's house by investigators sent by the panel, noting that reports in the media of huge sums of money discovered were mere fabrications. He said Mr. Magu does not sign for money or checks in the EFCC, and so he cannot be seen to be keeping such alleged amount of money at home. Speaking on a TV program, Ajalmo stated that if the Justice Ayo Salami panel eventually finds Mr. Magu not culpable of the allegations against him, Magu should be reinstated by President Muhammadu Buhari. In any which case, this is what Magu says. He says this is just a dog-eat-dog issue, and it is corruption fighting back. He says these are part of the things that you meet. He said fighting corruption, you definitely meet things like this because corrupt people will try to throw up things your way to stall you as you fight against corruption. He says here that this current deal is one of the risks of the job, fighting against corrupt persons. And he says that we must support the president in eradicating corruption in the country. So, Emmanuel, let me get your views from this generally.
Well, I don't think Mago has stated what he shouldn't have said. The fact remains that the allegations are there waiting for him. Now, when one blows one trumpet, it seems odd. That's exactly what people will be saying. Yeah, Mago, we expect you to say this. So this is the time for him to make his defense. If it's a case that his lawyers want to take to court, even in addition to whatever the panel is doing or whatever, let them head to the court. And then, Mago, the allegation, this is where it comes. It's no longer this one of, we don't know where he was being held. This one, he's in the court and they'll ask questions and he'll bring proof. Now, whatever he did or whatever he will eventually do and bring proofs before the judge will either exonerate him or convict him. But a matter of coming to blow his trumpet, I don't want to listen to that at all. For me, he's been alleged to have taken this and that and all that, on malfeasance in his office and all that. Now, it's time for him to prove that he didn't do any of this. And whoever said he did, they should bring, because, when the Attorney General rises against anybody, it has weight. And like I said, Attorney General himself is not from heaven. There are several allegations against Malami also. You remember Professor Dekunle, one of these presidential, I can't remember exactly.
The presidential
good
on corruption, advisory committee on corruption.
Thank you. He chronicled allegations against Malami, who his instrument of he wrote has now entangled Mago and then brought him to detention and later released. So it is time for Mago to come, because he said dog eat dog. We want to see exactly
the dogs.
Yes, the dogs. Now again, we want, you see, like I said, Malami against Mago. It brought Mago now perhaps out of office for temporarily until decided. Now let that same sword that rented Mago go to Malami. Since it's on allegations, we are believing to bring in people to judgment. Let Malami also be tried and found out. Because it's not good that some people cannot be on allegations. If you say this person has done this and that, you now bring it in, and then others will say, you keep quiet. Let the whole thing, equity is very important here. But for Mago, let him just calm down, not praise himself. Nigerians have heard all that is alleged against him. The courts will be the way we'll listen to and then know whether Mago is right or wrong.
All right, okay. Let's move on to Pakadoko.
I'm just wondering, when you say dog eat dog, is Mago the dog? And is it Malami the second dog? Who are the dogs? Is Buhari surrounded by dogs? I mean, I don't understand why he would get down to that point where I say dog eat dog. What does it mean? He would have to probably explain to us so that we know how this exactly who are involved in all of these matters and how Nigeria is run these days. I don't understand. I know dogs, the character of dogs, and to this point, and anyway, let's not push that one. But I think Magu needs to explain to Nigerians what it means by dog eat dog. A lot of things are in the being speculated. For me, where does Magu want to actually go and defend himself? Does he want to go to the presidential panel to go and defend himself, or he would like to come in the open, that's in the court, to defend himself? He has not indicated that he wants to go to court, because for me, that's the best place to defend yourself. You are accused, and then your accuser is before you, reeling out in the open, so that everybody gets to know. For now, they are doing everything in camera, so all that we are asking, all we are talking now, you can afford to come out and say they are mere speculations, they are things to tarnish his image and all of that, because everything happened in camera. And whatever anybody says, they say, how do you know? Were you there? You weren't even there. So a lot of the things that they gave room for all the speculations, all the whether information, misinformation, everything in the public domain now, they gave room for it. For a matter as serious as the allegations leveled against him, and from the quarters, those allegations came. I mean, for crying out loud, these are not things that should have been, for me, should have been treated in camera. Take Magu straight. The Attorney General of the Federation is the one who is accusing Magu. And I don't want to believe that he went there just to rabble-rouse, just to raise dust. He should have said. He didn't even come out. This is not the first time. This has been simmering as it were for a while, before eventually he took this step that he has taken. So for me, Magu had been treated with ignominy. I mean, he had been treated so badly, if you like. For him to have been hounded and then, ambushed on the road and then taken to wherever, the presidential villa, and then restricted, even if I don't want to say arrest, but he was detained against his wish for this number of days, brought from one kind of detention camp to that place every other day until now. And then all he's telling you is that he should be reinstated if he is found not guilty of all of this. I think Nigerians would like to have all of this in the public. Let Magu or the Attorney General, for me, from the very beginning, it should have been in the court so that everything is in the open and Nigerians know exactly what is happening. They have decided to do it in camera, but Magu should not be satisfied with just going before that panel to defend himself, and at the end of the day, the panel now still in camera, one way or the other, writes its report, gives to president, and the president now comes to tell Nigerians, oh, we didn't see anything. And everything just goes like that. I think Nigerians are not all stupid, and they shouldn't make us look so. Let this be a true, one that gets to the courts and everything happen in the open. Nigerians would like to know, so that we know that, yes, if you're saying you're fighting corruption, we know you're serious. But for now, so that if at the end of the day, all these allegations also prove not so correct, then Malami himself should stand trial. I know something like, say, if you give false information, what happens? You also should stand trial, so that everybody now knows that, yes, we're not joking. You can't just come up and frame up all of these allegations, heap on somebody's head merely because probably you want to get him out of the way, and then you go scot-free if none of them is proven. No, we should take this matter more seriously. For me, this trial in camera is really not the best way to go about this. why should Magu be given that kind of presidential treatment? For me, that's like giving him a presidential treatment. You have all of this against him, and then all you do is set up a presidential panel, go into one room in the presidency, and then begin to do what? And Nigerians are just there speculating and throwing all manner of things out there. It's not the best best way to handle a matter like this. I'll expect that going forward, Mago himself should take it more seriously. Let us get to know that, look, he says, I have come this far, I have built a reputation, and you can't just destroy me this way. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't do that, no matter the way it goes, there are many who will never believe that he was not state managed and that he is actually truly free, no matter how he gets it, until he gets to court and have his day in court, and the facts are laid bare and everybody could see them. Then people can say, okay, fine, he may be free or not. But at the way it's going, I think he should bother about his reputation more than going back to work.
To work. All right. Opaka, we got your thoughts. Well, we have two guests joining us. Chief Lofty Okere, social political analyst and community leader who has been a war for a bit. Good to have you back, Chief Lofty Okere.
Thank you, Nigerians. Thank you, Rivers people. Thank you, Niger Delta, and most especially
the lands beyond.
Annie, and Chief Emma and my colleagues in the studio. It has been a while.
Yes, it has.
It was a matter of trying to shift ground somehow.
And I see ground has shifted.
Yes. Yes. So I'm back refreshed and
you certainly look it. Thank you for coming on the show this morning. We've also got Dr. Emmanuel Warner, lecturer at Department of Political Science, Uniport. Dr. Warner, great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Anna. Good morning.
All right then. So Chief Dr. Mago says this is those dog eat dog. It's one of the prerequisites of fighting corruption. This is what you would deal with, because the corrupt people who know you're dealing with them will throw up some of these things. So it's just challenges, maybe like a work hazard, more or less, so we should not be perturbed by this. I guess he's trying to say he will surmount it all, because his lawyers are even saying, look, if after all the grueling they find there's nothing on him, he should be returned as the EFCC acting chairman, so to say.
Alice, when you read that part and the area of dog eat dog, I was laughing. And I think that statement, that particular phrase, is just the conclusion of the whole matter. Dog eats dog. And what I was asking myself is, this dog, is it the carnivorous types of dog, or the ones we have in our homes, that are more or less playful with human beings? So, dog eat dogs. Who are the dogs? Just like I can ask, which particular dog eats this dog? Is it the dog that is in the bush that is eating the one that is at home, or the one from home that is eating the one that is coming from the bush? I'm sure that within a short period, Mago would be able to expatiate on that particular statement he made. But in the whole thing, I am not surprised at all. Because if you look at the history of how Mago emerged, how Mago was refused to be confirmed by National Assembly, and how he was brought back to National Assembly, and he has been, in short, Mago is the first person I have seen in Nigeria that has occupied such a sensitive office and has been on acting capacity to date, and nothing has happened. No other person has been brought to replace him. No other move has been made again to see whether he will be substantially confirmed to act as a substantial EFCC chairman. I think there are certain things that Nigerians are not aware of. I will not be surprised if after some days that Mago will be reinstated in that position. I will not be surprised at all. Anybody who is believing that Mago is gone should begin to have a rethink now. Knowing too well that we have a president that is not always aware of genetics of issues. And when he gets to be aware of those issues in revelation, something changes. It's either he go back to status quo, or he will make a statement that we be as freshers, where everybody will go back to the drawing table. It has happened in several occasions in this country, where when you expect the president to come in, the president will come and make a statement that he's not aware. So I'm sure that when Magu was arrested, the Mr. President wasn't aware. And perhaps he's beginning to be aware now. He must have told them, allow him to go. And I want to believe that, irrespective of the fact that I'm one of those who have always been against the way and manner Magu oppressed. Because in one of the days when we discussed the issue of EFCC here, I said that EFCC cannot be a prosecutor. They will be the accuser. In fact, they are almost, the man occupying the office is almost the president. The power in him is so enormous that nobody questions the modus operandi in EFCC. The day I was here, I made the argument that if there's nothing we can do to checkmate them, there are retired judges in the country. The Mr. President can put them together and let them have the responsibility of looking into the books and activities of EFCC, chairman in particularly. I know that day, Mr. Ndukwe and Dr. Sado didn't agree with me that day. They said it will be a kind of multiplication of... I said, but this man cannot be acting in isolation without anybody checking on him. The Mr. President has a lot of things on his head. Even Malami, who is the Attorney General of the nation, is supposed to prosecute when your own is to investigate, and you submit to the chief judicial officer to prosecute the. But Malami, we will hear that EFCC have taken somebody to court. They have investigated you. They are prosecuting you. At the end of the day, Nigeria will also lose. You will see us losing resources, losing access day in, day out, and people are looting the country day in, day out. But as far as this matter is concerned, I think somebody have played offside, putting Magu in a better position. Because if you want to catch a thief, you catch a thief properly. It's either you catch a thief through the camera or through photograph, and you have it as your evidence to show, so that once the person is arrested, you prosecute him. The Magu is not the kind of person you say you are investigating him, you put him in Aso Rock, giving him Nigeria rice and stew day in, day out, night, and chicken to be eaten, and you say you come to the newspaper and the social media to begin to blow trumpet and say, hey, Magu has done this and done that and done that, when you do not have the substantial proof. And do you know that days after Magu was arrested, Sahara reporters in particular begin to carry out a lot of fraudulent activities committed by Malami, showing us houses built by Malami's son who just wedded, showing us aircraft, a lot of things on Sahara reporters. And Malami issued a statement saying he will take Sahara reporters to court, which Sahara reporters also replied. All of a sudden, 9 days after, Magu is released, without us hearing that he is being prosecuted. Is it that the investigation is yet to be concluded or what? So that's why I said that I will not be surprised that by tomorrow, Magu will be reinstated, because nobody has come up to say that actually this accusations against Magu has been confirmed. So I want to see it as one of those rumors and false allegations, that we have been hearing in this country. For me, if anybody is trying to accuse Magu for anything, which I know that the dogs may have met in one room and have discovered that if you eat me, I eat you, and there is going to be a balance and compromise, and Nigerians will continue to suffer. I regret the fact this month of July, the only respite I have in it is that we shifted a little bit from the problems of coronavirus, lockdown. A little bit we shifted to billions and billions and billions of naira looting from EFCC to NDDC to Nimasa. Everywhere, all we hear is that money has been looted here and here and there. And you begin to ask, is this administration still fighting the corruption that they have laid on table as their primary objective of coming into power? It is very regretting. It is very, I don't even know how to describe it. That even when it is very obvious that so many things are happening and nobody is making a statement, nobody is taking responsibility to prove or to show that corruption is not acceptable in this administration. Otherwise, I want to say that what has happened in this country within this past 6 months is enough for there to be a very serious revolution against our leaders. How can you wake up and you hear that a committee put together to fight NCDs, coronavirus in the name of NCDs, say they are going to distribute money to the nation. All of a sudden you hear that 70 billion has been distributed to the country. And a lot of states have not received any money. You wake up the next morning, you hear that 93 billion naira is missing in NDDC. And nothing is happening, and you hear National Assembly is investigating this, that, and that. You wake up in the morning and you hear that money is voted out for job creation. 774,000 jobs. And National Assembly members and the ministry are fighting over who will bring this and that. And Nigerians are keeping quiet. You wake up in the morning again, you hear that Nimasa, somebody has been jailed, somebody has taken so amount of money in the same country. Meanwhile, the civil servants are crying, the lecturers are crying, the pensioners are on the street every day demonstrating for non-payment of their gratuities and all the rest. Businessmen that are carrying out genuine businesses are being old. Where are we moving in this country? Who will bear the card? So for me, if I hear tomorrow that Mago has been reinstated, I will not be surprised. Looking at the foundation of his emergence in that office, and looking at the antecedent and so many things that have been happening in that office, I think the dogs that have been eating each other, they have compromised and they do no longer want to eat each other any longer.
All right then. Chief Love Day, thank you. Dr. Emmanuel Warner.
Ali, I think what baffles me more is, it appears to be a current trend where Nigerians use euphemism, to, trivialize very serious and dangerous issues, First it was Python that swallowed some millions of naira.
Yeah, before the monkey.
Yeah, before monkey.
Yeah.
It got to rats. Now we're hearing about dogs. I mean, what kind of country is this? Euphemisms are being used to describe very serious, dangerous issues like this. Now, for Mago to say dogs, eating dogs, which means there are two dogs in this matter now. So, Mago, firstly, is one of the dogs. That's what it means. Because it can't be referring to any other dog. The other dog, Malami, and his group is eating this dog now. So if the two of them are dogs, so they belong to the same category of dogs. And what that means for me is that you are a dog. Why should you call me a dog? Or why should you eat me as a dog? Meaning that you have been in this kind of business, in corrupt practices. So why are you also coming to eat me or accuse me? That's what it means. But be that as it may, I'm just thinking that probably government or even this present government has a way of letting somebody go when they don't even need you anymore, because this is the Magu that the National Assembly, I think it was 8th Assembly, rejected his candidature as the chairman of EFCC based on some indicting criminal reports from DSS. But the presidency maintained this ground and said he must be the acting chairman of EFCC against the former procedure of confirmation as the substantive chairman, So why all of a sudden this same man that appeared to be a saint to the presidency is now involved? The other time I was asking, so what has changed? Why the sudden change in Magu? Again, I also came to realize the fact that it is said in political science that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Probably Magu must have been involved in that. Magu is a human being. And more especially, Magu is a Nigerian. So if his powers are not checked, there's a possibility that power can corrupt and absolute power can corrupt. Absolutely. But I'm also wondering the fact that, just like Chief said, this is a government committed to fighting corruption. And all we hear every other day is corrupt practices, corrupt charges against those who are in this government who are supposed to fight corruption, especially this FCC. In fact, I said it's a very serious indictment on that purpose on that mission of fighting graft in this country. Because how can you explain a situation where somebody who is in charge of fighting corruption in this country, is also, obsessed, inundated in that corrupt practice? So what are we going to tell Nigerians? So it means that there is no sincerity in the fight against corruption in this country, especially when it's coming from the top echelons in this administration. And if you must also begin to justify the fact that government is actually fighting corruption, what has it done to other people who also were said to have, been involved in corrupt practices? Some of them are still walking freely along the streets of Nigeria. Nothing has happened to them. He just mentioned that by Malami himself. We had expected that he should have even been proved or relieved of his position as the chief law officer of this country. But nothing happened. All that we are swept under the carpet. And the same man is also accusing another person. How can I don't want to use that word thief. Don't know. For lack of any other word. How can a thief call a thief? A dog. Call a dog a dog. It's just making mockery of voting and exposing our inability to fight corruption. We are just making mockery of the whole thing. And I think an ordinary Nigerian may not even take this government seriously in that regard. Now, if you also consider the fact that this is somebody who has been labeled with that kind of serious allegation, okay, even though he who alleges proves, why would such a person be taken into a custody outside the normal court procedure? And of course, you know that it is even stipulated as a provision for habeas corpus, unlawful detention. All these are part of the things that constitute corruption. Corruption is not only when you steal money from a public fund or do other things. Even when you also go against the constitutional provisions, when you didn't follow due process, there will be miscarriage of justice. And of course, justice will be perverted. All that will constitute what I call corruption. So if you know somebody has done, why didn't you flow? Malami is the chief law officer of this country. I know he knows the law. So why did you arrest somebody and take him in a private place, other than the normal place stipulated in the Constitution? And you call yourself the law officer of this country?
That's a big question.
And I know that what's his name, Magu, outside this issue of corruption, can also invoke the fundamental human rights, that reference section in the Constitution, against the government, against Malami, against whoever detained him illegally. You can't use illegality to fight illegality. You can't build nothing on nothing. You can't base something on nothing. Why can't we do simple things the way we are supposed to do it as enshrined in our Constitution, if we claim we have a Constitution? So I think that we are not yet serious.
But I'm thinking that was what Magu was hinting at, at the situation that we're in when he said dog eat dog. That being an idiom, meaning one will do anything to be successful, That's what it means. So I'm thinking that in context to what he's going through and by the nature of his job, the people he's supposed to be prosecuting are doing everything they can to get an upper hand over him. And that is why he's going through these travails. Obviously, from Magu's point or his stand here is that he is innocent. But they're throwing him all these murky waters because, he's been so successful in what he's doing in trying to nail the corrupt officials or corrupt people within the system. And this is them trying to pull the carpet from underneath his feet.
Yes, and that can be a possibility, But from what he said, dog eating dog.
I said, it's an idiom. Dog eating dog is an idiom.
Yeah.
And it's said everywhere, especially when there's high competition ongoing. You say it's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, the verb there, eat, could be translated to mean.
Like I said again, it is an idiom.
That's what I'm saying now. We need to.
If you're going to start,
we need to explain.
No, if you start peeling out the idiom, then now
you now say, okay, the dog here and the dog over there,
No.
and they eat in them. No, it won't work. That's not what he meant when he said dog eat dog. I'm just trying to be very fair to the situation on ground. When Magu said dog eat dog, it's an idiom, and this is what it means.
Yeah, yes. So if we give interpretation to that idiomatic expression,
which means a highly competitive or charged situation where everybody's trying to get above
to
the
get
other.
his own.
No.
Okay.
That is your own.
No, that's the meaning of dog.
That's the meaning of dog eat dog.
It's an idiom, and that's what it means.
Meaning.
Okay. So he finds himself that is in a situation where everybody is trying to grab, right?
Yes.
Grabbing whatever can get to him or her, and it becomes a rat race.
Good.
You know, survival of the fittest, that
yes.
kind of thing. Yeah, but you see, he shouldn't be surprised now. He is a Nigerian.
No, he's not surprised. He's just stating what he feels about that to us outside, what he is doing or his establishment. We may not have the insight there, but he is now the one inside telling us, look at what has happened. So don't marvel about these accusations. That's more or less what that dog eat dog stands.
Okay. Well, and what it also means for me is that, like I said earlier, this accusation or these trumped up charges, if you like, these accusations, let me not say they are trumped up because they are not yet. These charges, they are coming from the government of the day. Because I want to believe that Lami is not just doing it as an individual. I want to believe he's not just doing it as an individual. I want to believe that presidency is aware of these actions taken by Malami.
They are aware of what.
Yeah, so the point I'm making is this: this same Magu, all of you came together. I mean, the presidency, the executive arm of government for now. You came together and defended this man to the letter, even when we have evidence from the DSS against him. Even when the National Assembly said no vow dead, but we're not going to confirm his candidature as the chairman of EFCC. You still went ahead. So what has happened at this point in time? What has happened? And this is about how many years now? If not about 4 or 5 years now. It's getting up to 4 or 5 years now, or thereabout.
For at least 4 years.
And you have been watching. He has been doing. He didn't commit all these offenses in one day. He didn't commit all these offenses in one day. You have been taking record of this, and you've been following the track. Because if you ask somebody to execute an assignment on your behalf, it is also incumbent on you to strictly monitor and supervise and see what that person is doing day in, day out. Okay? So you must have known the track event of what he has been doing for the past 1 or 2 years. All these purported property he seized, you are aware? Or were you just waiting for the argument for the charges to be weighty enough? I don't understand. That's why I said earlier, it appears maybe if government gives you an assignment and they don't want you to continue, they have a way of pushing you out through the back door. That's what I think. Because you can see the case of the former Chief Justice of the Federation. Maybe the cases again may be true, but must public officers be treated in this form before they can leave? And from what Annie said, it's not also out of place that probably people within that same executive arm of government or outside that are no longer comfortable. Maybe with regard to 2023, they are trying to pave their way and trying to prepare themselves for what will happen in 2023. So I think that they are just using us Nigerians they're just using our head, they're just manipulating, and at the end of the way, they will just tell us this is where we are. You know, in our local parliament those days in the village, that's a game we used to play. You go and hide, and these other people will come and look for you. When they don't see you, you just come up and say, hey, this is me. We are here. So I think that government should do things the way it's supposed to be done. due process is one of the principles of rule of law, and all these principles, contribute immensely in ensuring that there is good governance. You can't do one and leave the other. It must be done holistically. When you don't do little things properly, why do you expect the bigger ones to be done properly?
Okay, but I think it was yesterday we spoke about this, Emmanuel, and we said, funny enough, for all the chairmen of the EFCC, they went down in a similar manner. We saw that happen to Ribadu, Waziri, Lamerde.
Yeah.
There's always an issue of allegations of corruption or something, and they go off. So if Mago is saying, look, this is because those you're fighting will do everything they can to pull you out, shouldn't we also start considering that it might really be what's going on? That those who are fingered along the line, who perhaps have longer reaches or have tighter network, might also go about doing what they know how to do best to remove the one person who is hounding them down.
Exactly.
You see, Annie, when the president said that if we do not fight corruption, corruption will kill us, that's talking about Nigeria. It's just what Mago is talking about, don't ignore. I tell you, even the way people are talking, they said some of this evidence came from the EFCC itself. And if you remember that day, we considered, they said he was high-handed with his staff, that either he didn't pay either 5 months or so, and later on he paid them. So once Malami comes, these people that are disgruntled will bring information, whether right or wrong, to Malami. But I believe truly that there are other Nigerians who have indeed come up with charges against Mago. So truly the situation is that of dog eating dog. The truth is that, yes, they have followed that pattern. But remember, what we cannot forget is that their particular duty is very sensitive. Is corruption. And I don't think any human hates money. I don't think so. And if you are not careful, once money is given to you, you might be playing with it, and then it will get you into a problem. And that's what perhaps these successive chairmen of EFCC have been doing. They want to recover, and they recover. They may also take some of the recovered loot. I tell you, they are humans. It takes extreme discipline to make sure that one does not abuse issues on money.
That's right.
Because everybody needs it. Now, that's why even though Michael has described the situation as dog eat dog, yes, it's not in doubt. But what I want him is not to blow his trumpet. He's a free man, at least for now. Let him go to wherever and prove that this thing is truly a case of corruption fighting back. That is it. But if he's now blowing his trumpet, for Emmanuel Ndukwe, it doesn't change anything. Until I hear that the court says, Mago, you are free.
How come, or how will it be possible for court to say, Mago, you are free, when the matter is not before the court?
No, it will go now. That's what we're saying.
When? Who will take it to the court?
I don't know. Emmanuel Ndukwe was there.
I thought you are coming from the presidency. Maybe you are giving us a very reliable information. Who will take Malami to the court for prosecution? Are you aware that there was a time it was on the news that the former governor of Abia State was also
Theoji.
Yes, Theoji was that his allegations against him was before EFCC that he was to be prosecuted. We had Theoji was invited. Did you hear of the court in court today?
No.
Thank you very much. So there are several of such things that will only be on the public court trial. At the end of the day, you won't hear anything. And Magu is not one of ordinary Nigerians that you will just barge into and barge out just like that. And the man have challenged you. He said, throughout my stay in, whether you call it detention or you call it days of meeting in presidency or coffee taking, that nobody has given him a copy of the allegations made against him for him to respond. That he challenged anybody to bring those allegations so that he will respond formally to Nigerians and to the president and to whomever that is making the allegation. And up to now, there is no such thing before him. And You are telling me that Magu, the only time you will be you will celebrate him is when God said, Magu, you are free. When there is no allegation already. Malami, who was in the front burner as the man who submitted the petition, is not also standing firmly to say that this is what Magu has done. You see, we cannot just base on allegation, because always is on the one who alleges to prove, and who is there to stand to prove, and the man is standing tall, challenging you. So that's why I said here that I will not be surprised if by tomorrow, when Mr. President will definitely be aware that Magu was suspended, he may restate him. I say, go back. Who remove you there? You remember what happened in APC, the party some time ago, when the Mr. President became aware and he saw the line, the decision he took, and everybody abide by it. So for me, this one concerns Nigerians. This one is something that everybody is interested, because we are aware that Abacha loot was recovered. We are aware that some money was recovered from as we are told from Diziani Madueke. We are aware that some money was recovered from the former public secretary of PDP, Olisemetu. And other recoveries from here and there. There was a time they asked politicians to return money, or return 100 million, or return. And Nigerians were asking, where did you put in this recovered loot? Did you capture them in our recurrent expenditure, or even in the present budget you are budgeting? Instead, we hear that we are even going to borrow money to finance our budget. And Nigerians were like suggesting, why can't you use those recovered loot? And Magu, as I then said, we cannot use those assets until we forfeit them legally from the court. And I challenge Magu and presidency today that for them to show us where those monies are, whether in central bank or in any of the commercial bank, that this is the recovered loot and they are still intact. I challenge them to come and show Nigerians that. So, just like a chief imam said here, as far as human beings are concerned, as far as you are a Nigerian, you can never rob or play with liquid cash without tampering it. You cannot, because Magu collects this money and it is in his custody, and he will tell us that he is very free. That's why I said that he summarized his statement by saying dog eat dog, because I don't know the interpretation Anya was trying to give, the idiomatic expression. But all I understand, my own, is that we all eat.
No, and that's what I'm saying. No, you can't use your own and just what you know. No, he's not your own meaning. It's not what he said.
He's operationalizing it.
Yes, I'm trying to be practical here, because if for instance I drink beer a lot, and if you might drink beer a lot, I will come to the office this morning or to the room this morning and will say that, and bitch might begin to accuse me that I drink beer too well. Look at where I spin bottles up and down. I will tell him that you we are also in the same shoe. You see, so that is the way I understand the expression, the idiomatic expression. But be that as it may, I want to say and believe that what is happening today is a slap on the face of Nigeria and Nigerians. That those that has been given the privilege to safeguard and secure the assets of Nigeria, for us to for it to benefit Nigerians in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of human capital development, are converting those words to the extent that I think I heard at that time that one of the reasons why Magu was called was because he was using somebody to transfer some money abroad, billions of naira, and that in fact they were numerous. And today Nigerians are waiting for the prosecution of Magu, and let the person who brought these allegations against you come to stand and answers as far as this issue is concerned.
You see, Annie, I don't know why. I had asked this question this morning. That presidential panel, I don't know the essence. Because that panel cannot send Magu to court. Malami is the chief law officer of the nation. He has the prosecutory power. Now he decides to take Magu, put him before the presidential panel, and then take him back to wherever they hide him. Early morning, they'll bring them. And they are not telling him, look at what is against you now. Is it true or what? Nothing. What I expected Malami to have done is to take him direct with his power as Attorney General to court and charge him there. And then Magu will now defend himself with his lawyers. But it looks like this thing is just hidden under the table. And then if you touch this one, you leave this one, you touch this one. I don't know. So I am saying until Magu goes to court and have his day in that court with the final pronouncement of the court that you are guilty or you are not. As for these things I've heard a lot, then the EFCC will take whatever actions they are taking with a pinch of salt.
Yes.
All right. Okay, well, quickly now, let me just listen to I think the news.
And you see, if you look at Magu's predecessors, we say all of them left in controversial circumstances. At the end of it all, none of them was prosecuted. Some of them have gone back to the police. They've been promoted to, I'm sure Lamode is now a DIG or so. And one is beginning to think probably that is the way Magu will also go. That will not make this government any different from the past governments that they accuse of corruption and high-level corruption and all of that. So for President Buhari to make a mark and to set his government apart, especially one that actually wants to fight corruption whichever way it sees it and wherever it sees it, I think he should ensure that Magu gets his day in court, no matter whatever the findings may be in that presidential panel. Not Magu, not the presidency should be satisfied with whatever they come up with, because the man who is making the allegations is no other person. It's no other person than one who should have the facts. I mean, we're talking about the Attorney General of the Federation in this case.
All right.
So why should we get anything less than giving this man the opportunity to openly defend himself?
I think we'll take the news right now, and when we return, we'll conclude on these matters.
Radio has never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Every day, every hour. When the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. More revelations emerged that the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, was involved in an illegal spending of over 181 billion naira between January and July 2020. The revelation was made by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, where they appeared before the probe committee of the House of Representatives investigating the NDDC. Auditor General of the Federation, Anthony Aini, also said the NDDC had yet to present its audited account for 2019 since it was due at the end of May. Also at the hearing, the Bureau of Public Procurement said it did not issue certificates of no objection to the NDDC for the procurements made by the Commission with the said $81 billion naira. The probe committee grilled representatives of the CBN, BPP, and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, while the committee is expected to take more evidences today. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has asked the Senate to grant it powers to freeze accounts linked to criminals. The CBN made the appeal at the Senate Committee public hearing on its bill for an act to repeal the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2004 and reenact the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020. The CBN, represented at the hearing by the Director Legal Services Kofo Salam Alada, proposed to the Senate to reinstate the powers of the CBN governor to apply to the court for orders to freeze accounts which are deemed to be linked with criminal and other civil infractions. The Apex Bank also wants legislation for the creation of credit tribunal to address the issue of non-performing loans. Former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has told rights lawyer Femi Falana to clear his name of the allegations that he received 28 million naira from the suspended acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Brian Magu. Fayose advised Falana to go to court instead of merely threatening to do so. Recall that the human rights lawyer had refuted reports alleging that he received the sum of 28 million naira from Magu. Two suspected kidnappers identified as Osondu Ichendu and Amebulem Amos have led operatives of anti-kidnapping unit of the River State Police Command to where he and his gang kidnapped and murdered one of their victims in Alesa community in Eleme local government area of the state. The 5-man gang of kidnappers were alleged to have kidnapped and killed one Denebari Gospel Eriba after collecting ransom from the family. The 25-year-old Osondu Ichendu and 23-year-old Amebulem Amos, who led the police to the forest where the decomposed body of the victim was tied to the tree, disclosed that the late 38-year-old Dinabari Gospel, who owns a water factory, was kidnapped on the 15th of May 2020 at Woji community in Obiakpo local government area, tied to a tree and killed after 1 million naira ransom was paid to them. One of the suspects, Osondu Ichendu, who claimed to hail from Rumekwe in Emoha local government area of the state, confessed to the crime at the forest, saying that hardship caused by the coronavirus pandemic led him to the crime. Our correspondent Uchendu Ejowo reports that the Toyota Spider belonging to the deceased was recovered by the police. And on the foreign scene, United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the World Health Organization's inquiry into the coronavirus pandemic will be a completely whitewashed investigation. Pompeo accused China of failing to disclose information about the coronavirus when the first cases were detected in the city of Wuhan last year. That failure, Pompeo said, had killed over 100,000 Americans and cost the global economy trillions and trillions of dollars. Pompeo appears to be referring to an independent inquiry into the global response to the coronavirus pandemic launched by the WHO earlier this month. And that was the news update on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility. Wash your hands frequently with soap on the running water. Avoid touching your face in high contact surfaces to prevent the spread of coronavirus. To have a good morning, I am Annie Abdul Salam.
Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. The voice.
You don't wake up one day and say, okay, this policy is working, and then you expect it to crash the market in the next.
Cassava variety that takes 7 months. Do they know it or they don't?
What's the beginning?
Because you can see they are involved.
They are involved, true.
So how can you solve it? What will stop it? They're involved. Look at 1.something billion special allowance, 1.2 billion special allowance, padding of budget, 4 billion, this billion, 400 billion. How can they stop
Hello,
it?
good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, what's your name?
Yeah, this is Mr. Zion. I'm calling from Port.
All right, Zion, go ahead.
I think I totally disagree with the Emir.
Today's Quest with Annie.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Today is here. Yesterday is gone and unrecoverable. Tomorrow, you don't know what it holds, right? You have today. Yes, you heard me. You have today. The indisputable truth is that today is pregnant with both good and bad. You have freely been given today as a gift to see what you will make out of it. Permit me to be positive. Permit me to sideline the negative and magnify the good. Permit me to espouse on today. Today is great. Today is wonderful. Today is targetable and targets can be achieved. Today is domineering and you can be dominant. Today is a conqueror and goals can be conquered. Today is challenging and you can challenge yourself for the better. Today is cheerful. You can choose to be happy. Just in case you're sulking, saddened and feeling sorry for yourself. Enough of the wallow in self-pity. You have today. I mean today. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. Take that step today. Opportunities are everywhere. Just be sensitive. Build on yourself and get ready for the opportunity. Be the best you can be today, because I see the sun smiling on you. This message is powered by Today
95.1 FM.
Voice of the people.
Wake up to today's quest. All the news and information you need in one go. Get started with the best of sports, lifestyle, analysis, and Annie.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Can you feel it? Wake up to today's quest with Annie on Today 95.1 FM from 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays. Fantastic.
Opinion poll on today's quest.
More than 3 over 4 of the loots we are talking about in this country today were loots within the 16 years.
Here is a great opportunity to sample all our opinions on the issues raised.
Amin Potaka says the PDP is trying to divert our attention because Nigerian funds was looted by the people. Melody in Uniport says Madam Jonah is yet to come in terms of the fact that her tenure has expired. Annie, please tell him that investigation is not what you make public until the final stage.
Send your opinion to us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Today
95.1 FM.
or on Twitter @TodayFM951. You can also sample your opinions with us on WhatsApp or on our SMS portal using the numbers 070-1933-9962. So we're back. It's 14 minutes after 10. So while we want to wrap up on Malami's dog eat dog, he says, look, these are the consequences of fighting corruption, and that in any which case we still support the president in his determination to fight corruption, regardless of what we see now. We're trying to wrap up on that topic, but I think Dr. Warner, you
I just wanted to point out a point. Malami, claimed, I don't know whether that's true, that EFCC is under his ministry. I think that's true. And my worry is if EFCC is under your ministry, because he also accused Mago of insubordination to him. And in this kind of situation, there's always grievance procedure in personnel management. I don't know whether he has, on his own, issued formal query to Mago so that Mago can also respond. Because that's what is done administratively, in personnel management. When a junior officer is going out of his way or her way, the superior has to issue query formally, first of all, wanting to get explanation, from him or her. So that on the basis of that explanation, you may either decide to probe internally or take another step, and that's why I was talking about due process. So Malami, has he been able to issue formal query to his subordinate? He claims his subordinate is supposed to report to him. He should have issued a query to him and allow Malami a given period of time to respond. Magu to respond, as it is always done in a formal organization. He said, explain within 48 hours or 24 hours why disciplinary action should not be taken against you based on that allegations. I think that should have been the first step he should have taken, and that's why I said that I smell a rat in the whole thing. Probably is a way, like we said, dog. Maybe some people feel that Magu has been a stumbling block on our way, probably looking at 2023 or all those kind of things. And so let's see a way we can rubbish him and pull him out of.
But what strikes me is the fact that for all the chairmen of that agency, they always have some issue that ropes them on, and I usually leave unceremoniously. I mean, I never saw one that said, "Oh, the tenor ended; it was beautiful."
Yeah,
there's always one issue that drags them through the gutters.
Exactly. I said it earlier when I was. I said maybe it's that the government has a way of rubbishing somebody, and then if they don't want to see your face again, they say, "I beg, let's do this."
But there must be a reason why.
But there must be a reason. But if you have a reason, prove it. What's the punishment? He just say, please go, and
I was talking about
somebody is being restated.
By virtue of the position that Magu has, he will have available knowledge or intel on some of the clandestine goings on of so many people.
Exactly.
And that usually when it gets to this stage now,
Yes.
where they're trying to rope him, perhaps he's also guilty of certain things. You say, okay, sure, but I hope you know I know this and I know that and I know this. So that yes, so at the point where they get there now, they're like, okay, so what do we do? We'll just hands off. You go through that door. We'll go through this door. Usually, because we're in the Nigerian scenario. Nobody's fleeing.
No victor, no vanquished.
It's a
So
shame.
in that case, see, for me, the meaning of that dog eat dog. Ordinarily, dogs don't eat the flesh of another dog.
Because they are not carnivorous.
So when you now find one dog eating the flesh of another dog, then there's something wrong. We ought to be comrades. We ought to be together. So we are not supposed to undo one another. We're not supposed to be in the way of one another. But the moment that happens, then dog start eating dog. It's abnormal. So when criminals are supposed to be criminals, please, you take your own, I take my own. But now, you have taken your own. Me, I want to take my own now. Now you are coming to spoil my own show. We are no longer together. Dog has started eating dog. You are now trying to expose me when we are all together and we're not supposed to. You gently do your own and I do my own and then no wala.
No, but
so that's why I say for him to say dog eat dog, I don't know why he will choose that expression, why he will choose that idiom. But Professor Dekule had already hinted at that when he said it was a matter of, it was just a case of power play.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what
the power play is dog eat
that's
dog.
That's the dog eat dog. Two of them. Now in the power play, where are the power positions? All of them are within the same presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how the president is comfortable when you be continually, one stage after another, you continue to have a situation where your house, your subordinates are at each other's throat. The people you are appointed to help you are busy fighting and destroying as it were themselves.
That is if you want to eat more.
And
so that people will react.
You are, it doesn't appear like you just
no, but in this case, what do you expect the president to do in this case here? I mean, it was at his instance that this panel was set up. So you would think that he would say, okay, panel, don't continue with, I don't know, I'm confused what you expect the president particularly to do at this moment.
I have an answer to that.
No, you will eventually get your turn.
Like I said, for me, Malami, you have put all this together. Is it right? Please, prosecute him. Let him go.
Thank you.
It's as simple as that.
Thank you.
Why are you bringing these people to come and sit down and be finding out facts?
I don't know
what kind of fact are you finding? What are you going to do with that? And we're talking about, in this case now, it has, we have seen it in other cases, but in this particular case, this is the heart of your administration. This is the most important thing for you. And anybody that touches that should, or any issue that touches on corruption, should be one that you will never, ever get to compromise on. And that's, for me, that's the way I thought the president should operate. Because this is what you want to actually leave as legacy for Nigerians, that you came and you did this and you made your mark. So for you to appear like you are accommodating when it touches people that are close to you, you don't come out with the same gusto, with the same force. And then when it is probably people that are far away, all hell will let loose. I mean, it doesn't show that you truly want
but between Mago and
settle this
Malami, are they not his men?
That's what I'm saying.
Both are his men.
These are his men. And they are at each other's throat. why have you, or how come you have assembled people who are now, and then you don't have a way of checking what they should be doing? Do they really have a vision? Your vision, is that what they are actually after, or they are actually after their own individual, what the individuals stand to achieve? I don't know. There has to be a coordination, and that is why for me it's lacking within the presidency.
That's the answer I wanted to give. When I say I have an answer to that,
it doesn't have.
That there's a lack of coordination.
Yes, because it's first and foremost constitutionally, irrespective of the whole powers residing in the hands of the president does not have power to declare anybody guilty or innocent of any offense.
Yes.
No matter how big or how small that crime is, it is only the judiciary, the court of justice, that can say, Annie,
if they approach the court in the first instance.
The coffee I allege that you drank enough this morning is true.
I know this coffee has been an issue for you. I know.
And again,
yeah.
Nigerians are paying through the president somebody in the person of Professor Issa Sage as the special advisor to the president on corruption. So there was no need whatsoever. There was no reason for president to put A, B, C together to go and investigate Magu, because the EFCC that Magu is running is there day in, day out. There are records that if you catch in any of them for any wrongdoing, and if you are sincere about trying to stop corruption, you go straight to court and say, look at what this man has done. So that fall back to when I said that the way this man was going, nobody's checking him. He is all and all. He is a figurehead. Now today we are putting that same committee that I was suggesting, that there should be a standing committee that will be looking into this book day in, day out. That Chief Ndukwe and the other of our colleagues opposed. Now they come to put in that committee now to say, go and investigate. What are you investigating? If there is anything that has been found, call your special advisor on corruption matters. Ask him questions and say, what do you know about this? And if the man is not aware, the man will dig in and say, gentlemen, this is what we are hearing. What has happened? And you look into the books. And if there's anywhere the man is indicted, you report back to Mr. President. And Mr. President will now instruct the Chief Justice in the person of Malami to say, okay, institute this action against this man. Meanwhile, you are hereby suspended. But in Nigeria here, we hear a lot of allegations that are very clear about people. And the person will still sit in that office to issue press statements day in, day out. Okay? Before you know what is happening, people are making caricature of it, just like as it is happening in NDDC today. So for me, I am saying that what Mr. President would have done was not to constitute any committee or any investigating panel that does not have power to say you are guilty or you are not guilty. Is to take the matter to court, what is the proof, and let court declare Magu innocent, and he goes free. And life continues.
Well, so far, like we said, the panel is not the court.
Yeah,
right?
it's
this
not.
panel is not
and
the
will
court.
never
So,
be.
It's the same thing that happened to the former SGF too. I think they had an internal whatever
Babacha.
they went to Babacha, and then from whatever internal investigations, no, he never went to court. Whatever internal investigations they came up with, they decided to let him go. Okay. You know, and that was it. But we kept saying, why didn't they charge him to court? You know, because it's what we see with the Nigerian institutions when somebody very close. That's why I said it just seems as if, look, we have a dossier on each other. So if I'm going to have to go to court all over this, I probably will upend everything. Let's expose all our wrongdoings.
I think Babacha Lawal is being prosecuted
in court now. I think for now he is in court. He's being prosecuted. For now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
no, but might not be coded. It must be something when I'm not aware. I'm glad to hear he is in court. But then he was let go after their private.
Yes, after the
I would like to see that if anything came up with Magu too, and he's let go, that it's not just okay, Magu go. You've been indicted. He ends up being prosecuted in the courts. That would only be the solution to end.
You see, Annie, my problem as a person is Malami also has his own bag. And you, President, you can't say you are not hearing that also. And then Malami brought a dossier on another person. You set up a presidential panel, probe this Mago that Malami has submitted. What about Mago?
Malami.
Malami? What about him? So what I expected the president to do is that, okay, as he set up that, since he wants to say that, let's be very fair. After all, Salami himself will earn some bucks from there. Because you know how he left. And he didn't come back. So at least doing presidential panel and all that, he put something in his pocket also.
Malami is a minister.
No, I'm talking about Salami, the head of that panel.
Okay.
So he's making bucks there. He wouldn't want it even to end. Now, we are talking about what the president should have done. What he should have done is just, okay. Now that Mago is gone, they are looking into his books and all that. Professors
Sage.
No. There's Odekunle has stated this and that about Mago, please, Malami, please come and prove to us also. Now he says, I'm very sure of this. Malami also, maybe you set up his own. Since you want to be setting up panels, you set up his own. Why would you remember in what's his own? This man that pensioned somebody. Minor group.
Yeah.
The role they had laid, Mago played there and all that. Malami, that he was meeting him in Dubai and all this and that, but it was on his instant that he came back. Yet nothing is happening to Malami. Is Malami from heaven?
Well, I think that it also boils down to.
No, but I think Mane. I was going to say Mena. Mena was in court, but
so the leadership style of Mr. President.
And that's it.
Because like I said earlier, if you give somebody responsibility, I think that the president, for me, if I'm the president, I think the first thing you do every morning is look at reports from different departments or ministry and see what has gone wrong. Update yourself with what is happening. I am tempted to believe that Mr. President seems not to be doing that because he's supposed to be updated on what is happening in different ministries. Like you talked about the issue of Malami. He should have done something. But again, on the contrary, I think that the issue of panel is not totally out of place.
No, it's of course
it's not. Because administratively, it's not out of place.
No, it's not.
Like I said here, first of all, Malami claims that Mago is under him. If somebody working under it does not do the right thing, you see a query. First and foremost, we are talking about due process.
Yeah.
You see a query. If you are not satisfied with that query, you take another step. According to the provisions of the rules of law, you take another step. What is important is not just because you have set a panel. What do you do with the report of the panel? Because I want to believe that the government is being very careful, or maybe Malami is trying to be very careful in following due process, which probably may be challenged in court if eventually gets to court. So look, we have followed this procedure, and here we are. Sometimes you go to court, some lawyers will use technicality. They say, well, you didn't follow the process. How come you are here? So it is not about the panel. I don't see anything fundamentally wrong with the panel. But what I think should be done is, if at the end of the day, what do you do with the report of the panel?
Dr. Warner, please. You see, what is wrong with the panel is that time is being wasted on this particular issue of Mago. Now,
they're not internal
it's just like
internal investigation is like he said. Query have we ever heard about that?
Will they bring it up?
When they bring it up?
Oh, okay. So
No. You are talking about time. Tortoise that was kept in the pit for 7 years. The day they want to bring it, say, you people should be fast.
For me, I think since Malami has the prosecutory power, he should have headed to the court. If he's sure of what he is alleging against Mago.
After all, even after the committee or the panel must have come with its own report, and Mago's feels that he's not satisfied, or the right thing was not done, or he was being accused falsely, he has also the right to go to court.
That panel's report cannot sack Mago.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Do you also know that? Within the panel setup, there could be underground work going on amongst the panel?
I don't know. Dr. Warner, do you understand the kind of treatment they're giving?
No.
The panel.
The point.
They don't even allow him nothing. It's just that 20 of them, you did this thing, and they don't even allow the man to say anything.
Well,
the man is even requesting, okay, you say that 100 things I have done are bad. Which are the evidence? Please let me see. None is given. I don't understand the kind of pattern.
No. You see, we are not making it to look as if panel is the end of the journey, But the point I'm making is that even with what you have said so far, of course, that is enough. Because for you to punish anybody, whether in a panel or anywhere, you need to give the person a fair hearing.
Thank you very much.
Was that panel on panel on Elizabeth? Was that panel on so many other high-profile?
The fact that the panel was not there in those
Elizabeth was not working with the government of the day now.
Exactly.
No, of course you won't expect that sort of panel.
Exactly. You don't expect that kind of panel.
It's Nigerian government you're talking about.
No. You do things. We apply situational theory.
Just a moment.
I would have the issue of panel for me would have been appropriate if the allegations were leveled against this person from outside. If it was outsiders who are accusing, and you want to be sure of what they are talking about. This time around, it is the Attorney General of the Federation. So are we saying he himself doesn't know what
he's not sure.
He's not sure of what he has, or he has not himself investigated to be sure of these facts.
You have also
before you are going to say that you are now setting up a panel to verify what the Attorney General, who is the one that eventually you will still bring back the whole findings to prosecute.
Being sure is out of the question.
That is it.
Because even if you catch somebody red-handed who is stealing,
exactly,
the law demands that he enjoys the presumption, right?
Yeah. So
the right of presumption. So the issue of being sure that he is quite sure. No. The issue of the fact that he is sure is ruled out. It's not going to play in this matter. No, because even though you catch somebody red-handed stealing this headphone, you are supposed to give him fair hearing. Is that what the law says? No. First of all, like I said, that is the procedure.
No, but hold on. No. That if the person who did that, like we all work here, right?
Yeah.
And then I took this. Of course, the management here will
set up a panel
and said, okay, what did you see Annie do at what time?
Exactly.
Annie, they said this, and this. If they find that, indeed I have done something wrong, and these are the reliable evidences to the fact that I did it wrong.
Good.
They can say, okay, Annie, you're suspended. You're no more working with Today FM, and then decide to prosecute the matter in court.
Thank you very much.
Serve
it doesn't have
the panel. See, the panel itself is to investigate and get for itself a dossier on what you did wrong.
Beautiful.
Good. But while the process is uncoiling, do you as a person have right to at least be given a fair hearing to say, and then look at what they say.
But if they are not doing that, that's enough ground for him to challenge any decision at the court.
We did read earlier where Magu said his lawyer said they asked for the reports of the allegations laid against him so that they could respond to it adequately. I think that was later done because we also read where he said he read the allegations against him and they're all false.
Can I inform you?
So I think that it is important that while you're also asking him to come before the panel, that the person you're bringing understands what he's coming before you. And so if there's any need for defense and then any need to prove that they're innocent, they can do so adequately before the panel. So it's not you're not changing the person.
Exactly.
In the end of it all, I think what we're all trying to say here, so we don't keep dragging this, is the powers the panel has in all of this is very limited.
Very limited. That's
very
limited.
To my point.
I can be thrown away in the court of justice.
That is why time wasting.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That within administrative,
administrative. Yes, you are right. It's part of the procedure.
Yes, it's part of the procedure.
It's part of the procedure.
Because you can't just go to court and say, okay, good, so we have these allegations, man, we'll go to court, and then there's nothing. You find out that it's all nothing.
But Malami has the power to do that. Malami has the authority.
That's why he's following that process.
But remember that this is also Malami's ministry.
Exactly.
So to say,
what did you do?
The EFCC is subsumed under that ministry. So
an
You don't feel like
administrative
you can't
panel.
just pull somebody from that and say, I'm taking you to court. This is
That's what
okay.
I like,
Within
I'm
the
taking you to
chain of this ministry, we're doing the right things here. Remember that the panel is also set up by the person heading the panel is also a former judge.
Former judge.
You cannot find somebody guilty or
No.
innocent.
You see,
because the panel will either
for me,
guilty.
no. For me, I want
to.
No. So I want to believe that Malami is just trying to be very careful.
Those states to take that case to court.
They were in court and then nothing happened.
No. I just want to believe that Malami is just trying to be very careful and follow the due process.
Is he sure of what
No. The fact that the panel has limited
Attorney
power
General
does not rule out the fact that you don't follow the process.
Exactly.
That's the point I'm making.
I mean, you just mentioned the Babati Alawa. You know that his own accusations came from outside.
Yes.
Fine.
Whether outside.
So that's where for me the key is. Since he was accused from outside, and he's a member here, no, stay. We want to check. Let's cross-check our facts. That's okay.
For me, what should
But
suffice
now,
is when
That is because it's internal.
No,
This is even more. It's even more the reason why.
To check.
Exactly.
Because you have the power to prosecute doesn't mean you just wake up one day and say, I'm prosecuting
Go
you.
to court.
What if you're doing that wrongly? No.
No.
I think it's all part of the fair hearing.
Administratively.
I think it's all part of the fair hearing.
Exactly.
And you see, let us not misunderstand.
Allegations to the position.
Allegations are always weighty. But that doesn't make them true.
Exactly.
Excuse me. Let us not
Allegations are always weighty. It doesn't make them true.
Yeah, let's not misunderstand that argument. I'm not saying, or we are not saying that setting up a panel is not part of administrative procedure. But we are looking at the circumstance that we have at hand now over the issue of corruption. We are crying over money that has been looted. And we are even trying to put these people in more advantage by trying to spend more money. You see, in court of law, however you get a document to as an evidence against somebody, it's not queried. The only thing court look at is the viability of that document they are bringing in. So if there are things that Malami has discovered, there is no need of a panel. Let him go and deny it there in court of law. And there could also be a confidential investigation that they do not need to set up public panel to begin to address. Because whether you find somebody guilty or innocent in your panel, the court does not look at that. It has happened between Amechi versus River State or Omenejis panel in River State. It has happened in Imo State where Ihedioha set up a panel against versus Okorocha. And some of this panel goes to court, and at the end of the day, nothing comes out. So you are still spending the taxpayers' money, setting up panel, paying people to come and sit down and look at it, to find somebody bringing out a white paper or blue paper. At the end of the day, you are wasting more money on somebody that has already spent Nigerian money.
Chief, if hold on. If that amount of money they will spend on panel members can extricate us from the leather clutches of corruption, so be it. You know what I'm saying? You know why I'm saying this? When you talked about viability of evidence, no matter who gets it, sometimes it's not in all cases.
No, it is in all cases in court.
When you get an evidence when you are not supposed to have that document,
it's not admissible.
It's not admissible.
No.
There's admissibility. So it's not in all cases.
There's some.
That's because No. It's not in all cases.
It's unfortunate there is no lawyer in our midst.
No. It's not a question of being a lawyer. It's not in all cases. That's you.
Doctor.
When you are not supposed to be in the custody of a document, you are not.
Malami is the architect of the whole thing. He has compiled the allegations already and made the allegations available.
The point is
before setting up the
hold on.
The thing will go back to Malami.
Let me say that the point we are making is that for me, I think that Malami is just trying to be very careful and see how he can follow the process.
Is he sure of what the allegations? Is he setting up the panel to validate the allegations?
No.
He has made up the allegations.
I think it's simple.
By the president.
Investigate this person.
They said that Malami had these allegations against Magu. The president now says, okay, let us verify these allegations you have.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't understand. He doesn't mention the report of his minister.
So are you?
So wait, hold on.
Are you also saying?
Did he believe in Magu?
But
you don't believe in Magu. But here you are now.
The
Magu being unlikely.
Professor Go is living
the president believed in Magu, right?
Are you also
believed in Magu, didn't he? Yet here we are with these allegations heaped on Mago's head. So you're saying he should use that same I trust that he used for Mago to say, okay, I trust the Attorney General. Whatever you brought before me is true. So the state it to court. And therefore he would not set a panel to investigate
I don't understand.
and verify these allegations and say, well, this is the result of what we got from the panel, and this is how we're going to go forward with it after the panel has reported back to the president.
Exactly. Look at the result of the panel now. I think Mago is working freely now.
Are you also saying that anybody that commits any crime within that ministry of justice, that all the minister could do is just rush to court? Is that what you're saying?
That is not what we're saying.
And so what are we talking about?
Before the minister addressed the press over Mago's corruption act, he must have carried
administratively. Malam is why I recall that I said
office.
Yeah, it's under his office. Okay, fine. Under his office.
Yes.
So, and that's why I said he was supposed to first of all issue Mago query if that Mago is now working under his office.
Thank you very much.
Administratively. And if he's not satisfied with the explanation given, then he has to take the next step, probably to involve a larger panel to say, look, this is what I saw, this is the report, this is what he explained. I'm not satisfied.
The only thing
there should be a confirmation,
for me
a confirming body. And if all that fails, then if we are not even aware of the fact that, I'm not too confident with the acts establishing the FCC. Some punishments, some offenses can also be handled administratively. There could be such provision in the EFCC Act, the act establishing the EFCC. We are not aware. So maybe
see some of the allegations.
We're talking about corruption.
Recovered money.
No.
It's okay. It's all right.
So
corruption is hydra-headed now. Corruption is hydra-headed.
We seem to have set up our own panel here. It's okay. That's all right. Mago is not here to defend himself. Neither is the Attorney General here to defend himself. So we'll rest this panel. Thank you very much, fellow panelists. We'll wrap up this panel at this juncture. It's 44 minutes after 10, and we'll just touch an issue that's got to do with real talk, and then we'll begin to take your thoughts on it. We've been talking about Mago, who says what's going on is dog eat dog. He says, well, it's part of what is expected with the kind of job that he does. And while we said digging deep into what that could mean, and the chairman of there was a need for the panel first now for our newspaper review and 51 at Today FM 951, and watch us live on YouTube Today 95.1 FM on YouTube. Click on the live button and then you can watch us right now, and don't forget to click on the sub.
95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Today, 95.1 FM.
Chairman of Eleme Local Government Area and Rivers Police Command, for living up to its responsibilities, he led a new ease of life, which had led to the recent agencies towards securing the local government area. Honorable Paraji, while pointing out that the kidnappers were not from Eleme, called on residents of the area to always report suspicious movement in and around communities in the council area. Well, the two suspected kidnappers, identified as Osondu Ichendo and Amebulem Amos, led operatives of anti-kidnapping unit of the River State Police Command to where he and his gang kidnapped and murdered one of their victims in Alesa community in Eleme local government area of the state. The 5-man gang of kidnappers were alleged to have kidnapped and killed one Denebari Gospel Eriba after collecting ransom from the family. Chendo and 23-year-old Amebulem Amos, who led the police to the forest where the decomposed body of the victim was tied to the tree, disclosed that the late 38-year-old did hardship caused by coronavirus pandemic that led him to the crime. We'll just listen to him real quickly, and I will take another story.
Just this year, plan based on the coronavirus and how things hard for me. And how situation of my family be full on. So as well of the work, the misunderstanding between Ogai and him boys who they take care of the work here and make them feed the man. Because the him boys still say if you want to set them up, say don't collect money, no one give them. They don't want to use government set them up. So they need to kill the man, don't come up for the bush. Now later, planted saying don't collect money, why they kill the man? Me self, I didn't invest for them, why they kill the man?
Right, so we just heard Osondu Chendu speaking. They did collect ransom, but they went ahead and still killed the victim. The LMA chairman saying, look, these guys are not from this area, but we need to be very vigilant about what goes on in this area. He says he's gone ahead to inaugurate a volunteer vigilante group to help with security agents. We did mention, Emmanuel, during this periods of lockdown and the slow turn in economic activities in Nigeria and of course across the world, that we might begin to find a rise in crime.
Criminality.
Yeah. So let me get your thoughts on this real quickly. Vis, what?
Well, certainly, I think it's good that the police have apprehended these particular individuals who are not doing any service that is good to humanity. I tell you, they have chosen this kind of business. They kidnapped, and ransom was also paid to them. I don't know exactly what else they need. They still kill that man. That means from day one, their intention was not to leave him just to get the ransom and leave the man, but to kill the man, but to use him as a pipe to get to that money. And then somebody is telling me coronavirus inflicted hardship made him. Now tell me who, rich and poor, that the hardship left. So all of us should now move out to the road and start kidnapping people and killing. Quite unfortunate. Now that they killed that man, I'm only happy that they even got that particular person that said that, and maybe another person. It's unfortunate. But for the LMA chairman, LMA local government chairman, who said they are not from there, yes, truly they are not. Mm-hmm. But then, I think his eyes should be more open, because there's no way you can read any local government of criminals.
All right. I'll just take this breaking news story round. I'm looking at the time and I can't hold on any longer.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Breaking news.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has stormed the house of the former interim chairman of NDDC, Joy Nune, at 3 Owerri Creek View off Herbert Macaulay Street, Old GRA, Port Harcourt. Governor Wike's visit was predicated by the invasion of the residence of Nune by officers of the Nigerian police force early this morning. The reason for the governor's interference is not unknown. The development is said to be coming ahead of Nune's appearance before a Senate panel in Abuja investigating the activities of the NDDC today. But sources say Joy Nune is being invited for questioning by the police, and information yet to be confirmed by the spokesman of the Rivers State Police Command, SP Omoni Nnamdi. Akpabio and Nune have appeared before the Senate and ad hoc panel investigating the alleged mistake. Said he did not know the expenditure of the NDDC under Nune because she refused to give him briefings. But Nune said the minister engineered her removal for failing to dance to his tunes. The ex-NDDC MD also made several allegations against the minister. She accused Akpabio of sexual harassment, budget padding, fraud, among others. Recall that the Rivers State government had warned that no harm must befall Nune, who it described as its daughter. We hear Governor Wike has now moved Joy Nune to Government House, Port Harcourt.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Breaking news.
Taking this again, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has stormed the house of former interim chairman of NDDC, Joy Nune, at 3 Owerri Creek View off Herbert Macaulay Street, Old GRA, Port Harcourt. Governor Wike's visit was predicated by the invasion of the residence of Nune by officers of the Nigerian police force early this morning. The reason for the governor's interference is not unknown. The development is said to be coming ahead of Nune's appearance before a Senate panel in Abuja investigating the activities of the NDDC today. The sources said Joy Nune is being invited for questioning by the police, and information yet to be confirmed by the spokesman of the Rivers State Police Command. Akpabio and Nune had appeared before the Senate ad hoc panel investigating the alleged mismanagement of 40 billion naira by the Interim Management Committee of the NDDC. At the hearing, Akpabio said he did not know the expenditure of the NDDC under Nune because she refused to give him briefings. But Nune said the minister engineered her removal for failing to dance to his tunes. The ex-NDDC MD also made several allegations against the minister. She accused Akpabio of sexual harassment, budget padding, fraud, among others. Recall that the Rivers State government had warned that no harm must befall Nune, who it described as its daughter. We hear Governor Wike has now moved Joy Nune to Government House in Port Harcourt. All right, so Emmanuel, let me quickly get your thoughts on that here. We did speak about this, I think, was it yesterday, when we mentioned the fact that the Commissioner for Information mentioned the fact that Joy Nune, regardless whatever political affiliations she may have, is first of foremost a River State indigene, and the government is dedicating to protecting its own, and they pray that no harm shall befall her. And well, they were ready to ensure that she's protected. I guess this is, part of the protection that they mentioned. The fact that the police had stormed her residence, and at the instance of, on hearing that, the governor himself stormed the residence and whisked her away to Brick House. Emmanuel.
Well, I think that's protection indeed, because where she is, she can never easily be reached again. But as for the allegations against Akpabio and the ones Akpabio made,